The Sea of Cortez. It is an oasis surrounded by desert. Below its shimmering surface is a strange, beautiful, and secret world you can explore briefly, for about an hour at a time. Kim, Natal, and I have entered into perhaps the strongest and most sacred bond that three people can have with one another. We are dive buddies. And together we have a big blue world to discover. Our latest underwater expedition brought us to La Paz, Mexico. Here we were extremely fortunate to meet Marco, a talented guide with 20 years of experience and a gentle nature perfectly marinated in salt water. The water temperature is 79 degrees, and we can clearly see the bottom, 60 feet down. Come, dive with us. There is mystery surrounding a sunken ship that activates the imagination. Boats are meant to float. Swimming inside the wreckage, I am keenly aware that my presence underwater is also unnatural. I watch as my air bubbles collect on the enclosed spaces above me, and I wonder, if my gear gets entangled, how long could I survive sipping that thin layer of trapped air? Before my mind wanders down an even darker path, Mother Nature nudges me and points out her handiwork. She is doing a much finer job of recycling our junk than we are. Every inch of the rotting steel hull is covered in life. Its rusted, porous surface gives algae and coral perches, a toehold to grasp against the sea's currents. We find not one, but 3 green sea turtles. They'll spend hours underwater. To them, breathing has no urgency, and their hearts beat once every few minutes. A moment of zen could last for weeks. The ship's scattered debris shelters dreamlike creatures with colors and forms that reveal the gifts and wonders of eons of evolutionary adaptations. And, if you're lucky, a passing fish will flip you the bird with its dorsal fin. I don't know if there is a better example of human arrogance than dumping old ships onto the bottom of the sea and then congratulating ourselves, saying, "We've created a habitat for wildlife." Nature is not impressed with our artificial reefs, trust me. The more time I spend witnessing a world untouched by civilized hands, the more wild I want to live. The untamed wild spaces are fascinating and deeply beautiful, and potentially dangerous. Take a deep breath and let it go. Now let go of your schedule, your deadlines, your domesticated life just for a little while. We are on the south side of a small island, home to a colony of 600 sea lions. The first to say hello are the bravest of the curious young pups. They are cautious for the most part, but they are nosy too. Through the water they glide and dance with contagious energy. Kim has never turned down an opportunity to dance. For young sea lions, the act of play is training for survival. When observing adult sea lion interactions, the atmosphere is thick with power and potential for aggression. The adults allow us to be there. But we know they are keeping a close eye on us. We enter a shallow inlet and sit on the rocks. With gentle jaws, we are examined, tugged on, and finally accepted as friends. At this depth, the buoyancy of Kim's thick wetsuit sends her floating to the surface. But this isn't her first upside-down rodeo. After a quick survey of the local geology, she has the situation well in hand. This sea lion colony sees daily visitors, and Marco has interacted with them hundreds of times. They are comfortable around him and allow us to feel like part of the extended family. The seascape surrounding the island is breathtaking, a magical wonderland of caves, crevices, and corals that we will explore alongside these graceful creatures in our memories for years to come. Anchored in a protected cove, Marco drops a single bright light to the sandy bottom. And we wait. The ocean comes alive at night. We are about to observe the food chain in action, and the connections of this chain are linked by light. As if circled around a campfire, we stare transfixed as flames of white wings appear and swoop and dive before us. We made no movement and kept our distance from these shy, harmless mobula rays, primarily for their safety but also for ours, as a group of stingrays also scurry in to feed. We were completely entranced by the mobula's feeding frenzy, and unaware of anything beyond the reach of the light. Until a visitor arrived. I won't say there is nothing to fear in the depths of the night ocean, but fear wasn't our experience. It was so very, very peaceful. Okay, I admit, I'm feeling the stress, and I am not in control of my breathing. We are descending along the anchor line, pulling ourselves through a strong current to a rocky outcropping. This dive is different. The depth drops to 90, 100 feet, and the visibility deteriorates. We swim through a curtain of tiny plankton and jellyfish. Any exposed skin burns from the defenses of their stinging cells. These strange, translucent beings have quite a bite. Ahead, we see bright, silvery flashes, signaling a school of jacks. Is this a good sign? In the best conditions, our odds of encountering sharks are low. We knew that going in. Our approach is to try and gently drift with the currents, scan all around us, and hope for hammerheads. The experience of the reef is otherworldly. It is full of life and surprises. It is completely different from the world I know. Exploring a reef is like reading a good book. Half of me wants to race ahead and see what's coming up next, and the other half intentionally slows down, takes a breath, and savors the experience. I've been captivated by moray eels since the moment I learned of their existence. The toothy monsters of my childhood imagination fill my mind with wonder still. Swimming weightless through the rocky terrain, my awareness of needing air to breathe fades into the background. This is what scuba diving is all about. Out from the reef, spanning as far as I can see, is a field of barren sand. Rising from the sand, swaying with curiosity and caution, are hundreds of garden eels. They feed on plankton drifting by, and despite being completely adorable, they are pretty camera shy. Along 3 miles of coastline, north of La Paz, only 14 tourism boats are permitted at a time to visit with whale sharks. These gentle giants are protected, treasured, and magnificent. From our boat we spot the splash of a tail fin and a massive dark shadow. Before us is a young male. Our guide estimates he's 6 years old and 18 feet in length, about half the size of a full-grown adult. No scuba gear was needed for our final dive of the trip. Flippers and snorkels only. Even so, our eyes were wide and our hearts pounding. Our new friend is calm and appears content to let us swim alongside him as he roams the shallows in search for food. For this, his 4-foot-wide mouth is perfectly adapted. Plankton and other small creatures flow right in. Sometimes, in a ravenous display, the whale shark will force-feed himself great gulps of nutrients, causing the huge gill slits to wave like flags from the rush of expelled water. Watching the remoras, with the suckers on their heads firmly attached, had its share of surprises too. Some would hang out at the mouth to share the whale shark's meal. Others kicked back and enjoyed the free ride. And then there was this little guy with a curious trick up its sleeve. At no point in our swim do I feel at all fearful. No. My entire being is overwhelmingly happy. The whale shark's skin shimmers like a galaxy of stars. Swimming next to this being is like looking out into the night sky. You feel perfectly insignificant in a big, glorious universe. Insignificance is a satisfying state of mind. A well-known rule of diving is to be respectful, to look but don't touch. This may be the very best way for the world to touch you.